It was a quiet Thursday morning when I first noticed something wasn't right. My name is Emily, and I've been married to Jason for almost 8 years. We were the kind of couple that others looked up to, at least on the outside. We had the picture-perfect life, a cozy home in the suburbs, weekend brunches, silly traditions, and inside jokes only we understood. We met in college. He was confident, funny, and had a way of making me feel like I was the only person in the world who mattered. But now, everything felt different. It didn't happen overnight. It was subtle at first. The way he stopped saying, "I love you," before hanging up the phone. The way he started checking his reflection more often before leaving for work. And then there was his phone. Once a forgotten object on the kitchen counter, now it never left his side. He'd take it into the bathroom, hide the screen when I walked by, even sleep with it under his pillow. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe he was stressed. Work had been demanding lately. Maybe I was imagining things. But something deep in my gut told me otherwise. It started getting harder to ignore. Jason began working late more often. He'd come home hours after he was supposed to, smelling like a cologne I didn't recognize, and he never offered an explanation. Work ran late, he'd mumble, avoiding eye contact. No smile, no warmth, just cold, distant replies. Then came the lipstick. I was doing the laundry, folding his button-down shirts like I always did. That's when I saw it. A faint but unmistakable red stain on the collar of his crisp white shirt. Lipstick. I stared at it for a long time. My hand started to tremble. I don't wear lipstick. Not red. Not even on special occasions. I prefer a soft nude or gloss. I touched the stain gently with my finger, hoping somehow it would wipe away. But it didn't. It was there, just like the pit in my stomach that had been growing for weeks. Still, I didn't confront him. Not yet. Instead, I started paying attention. I began watching the patterns, the lies, the inconsistencies. I checked the phone bill and saw one number popping up over and over again. Morning, noon, and even after midnight. I didn't recognize it. It wasn't a coworker. It wasn't family. I wrote it down. Every fiber of me hoped it was nothing. Maybe it was a client. Maybe someone from his gym. But the truth, I knew. I already knew. I just wasn't ready to admit it yet. I started noticing how often he smiled at his phone when he thought I wasn't looking. How he'd step outside to take work calls in a hushed voice. How his texts turned into generic responses with no warmth. The man I once knew, the man who once danced with me barefoot in our kitchen, was slipping away, and I didn't know how to hold on to him. One night, curiosity, and maybe pain, got the best of me. He left for one of his late-night meetings, said he'd be home by 11. I waited 15 minutes, then grabbed my keys, heart pounding in my chest, and followed him. I felt like a character in a movie, a woman driven by suspicion, betrayal, and a desperate need for truth. I kept my headlights off, staying far enough behind not to be noticed. He drove past his office, past the coffee shop, past anywhere he had any business being. Finally, he parked in front of a small apartment building on the east side of town. He didn't hesitate. He walked right in like he belonged there. I sat in my car for over an hour. He never came back out. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I just stared at the ceiling, thinking of the years we spent building our life together, wondering how easily he could throw it all away. The next morning, I acted normal. I smiled, made him breakfast, kissed him goodbye. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But I needed more than just suspicion. I needed confirmation. I needed to hear it. So I called the number. It rang twice before a soft, unsure voice answered. Hello? My throat was dry. I struggled to find the words. Hi. I think you know my husband, Jason. There was a pause. Then she asked quietly, Who is this? I'm his wife. The silence that followed was heavy, almost painful. I could hear her breathing. And then she whispered, I didn't know he was married. Her name was Sophie. She was 29, an interior designer, and had been seeing Jason for nearly a year. A year. A whole year of lies. While I was making his dinner, folding his clothes, planning our anniversary, he was building a separate life with someone else. I don't remember much of that conversation, just the aching silence after I hung up the phone. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried for hours. I felt humiliated, worthless, like I had been living in a dream while everyone else knew the truth. But I didn't scream. I didn't confront him in rage. I didn't throw things or curse his name. Instead, I planned. I began removing his name from joint accounts. I gathered every piece of evidence I had. Photos, call logs, screenshots, texts. I spoke to a lawyer. I told no one. Not yet. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of knowing I was broken. I waited until the perfect moment. One weekend, he said he was going on a work retreat. I knew where he'd really be. So while he was gone, I packed my things. I took what was mine and left the rest. I even left him a note. It was short. Jason, I know everything. I hope she was worth it. Emily. By the time he came back, the house was empty. So was my heart. The calls started immediately. Voicemails filled with apologies, pleas, promises. He cried. He begged. He said it was a mistake, that he didn't mean to hurt me. But I didn't respond, because love isn't supposed to feel like betrayal. It isn't supposed to leave you questioning your worth or begging for honesty. He made a choice. Over and over again, every phone call, every lie, every kiss that wasn't mine. He made a choice. And now I was making mine. Now, months later, I'm living in a new apartment. It's smaller, quieter, but it's mine. I'm going to therapy, drinking coffee on my balcony, reading books I never had time for. I'm finding me again. And Sophie? She left him too. Once she found out everything, she walked away. Turns out, she didn't want to be with a man who could lie so easily. I guess karma has a funny way of showing up when you least expect it. Do I miss him? Sometimes. I miss who I thought he was. I miss the man who made me laugh until I cried. But I don't miss the lies. I don't miss the heartbreak. I've learned that healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing yourself over and over again until it no longer hurts. So to the woman listening right now who feels something is wrong, trust your gut. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. Your intuition is your power. And if someone ever makes you feel small, unwanted, or unloved, walk away because you deserve more. You deserve everything.